Hi everyone, welcome on this new webinar in which we will release dynamic content. To start, of course, we will first verify if everyone has a great connection. Can everyone hear me loud and clear? Hi Michiel, hi Ivor, hi Carlo. Okay, great. Yeah, this is going great. Thank you. Okay, we will take, let us say, for 2-3 more minutes. I will start preparing myself and then we will kick off this webinar. We are very excited. This is one of the most requested features that we are going to launch today. It's all about how to build dynamic content, as you, of course, know, in blogs and organizing team members, creating product catalogs and portfolios. We will show it you how it works. It's very nice. We will release after this webinar in a phase 1. And of course, yes, Ivor, there will be a recording later. You register for the webinar and automatically after the webinar, you will receive the recording. We are also building our brand new website. I think it will be launched in June, and all the webinars that we give will be there also stored in a database, so you can recap everything you want afterwards as well. Yes, I'm going to try sharing my screen right now. Check if it's working. Okay. Is this going well? Okay, great. Everyone can see my screen. Eva, are you still there?
I'm still here, yeah.
Okay, great. Maybe 2 more minutes and then we will kick off. There are a lot of people online at this moment, so that's great. And I think even more will view the recording of this webinar later. Maybe before starting the content of this webinar, just maybe focus on some other small updates that we are going to release this week. As you all know, and most of you already have received a product update related to this release, is that we are going to show all the showcases of all our agency inside the platform. So as you all know, if you have like a studio account, a SiteManager studio account, and you create beautiful projects for your end clients, you are able to allocate those projects and make them public. And in this tab, we will show all the showcases that are built by our SiteManager community. You can see who has built the project. And if you click through, you come to the detail page of an agency, and you see also other projects that are built by that specific agency. We will release step by step by giving all our agencies the time to update their company profile. So that's a quick tip for all of you. Make sure that you here in the section company update all of your company sections. So of course, yeah, this is a demo studio, but please upload your logo, make sure that your name and short description is all set correctly. Make sure that you enable here public agency and enable the freelance connect module. That makes it possible for other SiteManager users looking for an agency to contact you and to start collaborating together. So this is a very great feature. We will do a lot more with it step by step, but we will now release like the phase 1 of it, and that's like a warm request for all of you. Please update your company profile. If you want to be invisible, so if you do not want to share your agency profile in the platform, or if you do not want to showcase your projects in showcases, it's also possible, of course, to go like entirely invisible. But you can of course choose that way. We really want to enforce and broaden our community of agencies and people looking for agencies. If there are questions after the webinar, of course, I can go more into detail. All right, it's like 11:05. I think it's time, Eva, to start the content of this webinar. And
Yes.
to give like myself a short kickoff, I already created here this project webinar dynamic content. The first thing, Eva, I take you. It's my idea. Maybe it's a good idea that you take over once I really started inside the project.
Yeah, sure.
As we do it like we did last webinar, it's going great. It's kind of a live design session. And if there are questions from the audience, of course, you can capture those and answer appropriate. So if you created a new project, you go first of all to the general setting of that project. And here with modules and integrations, you see the dynamic content module. A dynamic content module is like a dynamic content is the opposite of static content. It's content that you want to organize, and very typically it's like visualized in lists and detail pages. As for example, a blog, you have like a list of cards of the different blog articles. And if you want to read more, you click on the read more button, and then you come to the dynamic page or the detail page of that specific blog article. When you install the dynamic content module to your project, of course, you can create unlimited collections in that dynamic content module. So you're not limited to only creating blog collection, and you don't need to pay €5 a month if you then, for example, want to create an author collection or a portfolio collection or a catalog collection. No, when you add the dynamic content module to the project, you can create unlimited collections. I will explain later, or Eva will explain later what collections are. So if you add dynamic content to the project, you see that like it's installed. If you have making a mistake, for example, of course, you can uninstall it when like the dynamic control is empty. Of course, when you have a collection, it will not be able to uninstall it. But when like all the collections are deleted, for example, you can uninstall it. And of course, you don't need to pay for it. Okay, that's like the first step. And if you then go into the project, you see that the dynamic content tab is now added to the first navigation bar. Okay, Eva, are you going to take over?
Yes, I will.
Right, otherwise I keep on talking. All right.
All right, let's get started. I also like to welcome everybody today in this webinar. So like Alex explained, he'll be building everything and I'll be explaining a bit more. The first thing I'd like to explain is what collections are exactly. It's just a different term to identify what most of us refer to as databases. We don't like to call it databases because everything online is basically stored in a database. So we like to call it collections. And a few examples of collections are blogs, blog authors, job listings, portfolios, team member overviews, any type of e-commerce shop, international offers, listings, all types of collections or databases. And that's what we'll be building today. But we'll go for the blog database or collection rather. And the first step to do this is install the dynamic content module. This is what Alex already did. The second step is to create a new page. So simply go to the drop-down menu of the page management console and click New Page. You'll be taken to the page properties and fill out the name, page URL. You can also see the SEO settings, Open Graph settings. We'll skip those for today because it's not really the main focus of the webinar, but this is where you'll get those settings as well. There's also no need to change anything about the advanced settings. Everything is how it's supposed to be. Then you go to the page management overview. Here you can set the order of the blog. So you want to organize it in a logical way so you can find it back in a navigation bar. And you also want to make sure that it's visible. This you can see just with the simple eye icon. And so like you can see, we've created the blog page. You can see it in the navigation bar at the top. The next step is to create a collection or create a database. For this, you simply go to the dynamic content in the upper navigation bar that we created earlier, select Create New Selection, and you'll again see a number of fields to fill out. Name your collection. So here we'll name our collection blog articles because this is what we'll be making. Fill out the main category. We'll be calling it all topics. So this is the category that all blog articles will belong to. So it's applicable for all collection items or database items. You can also add other subcategories later on. For dynamic pages, you toggle yes. This means whether you would like to install a detailed page or not. So if you toggle yes, you will be making a detailed page later on. If you toggle no, there will be no detailed page. Next, we have the slug. So this is what you want your collection to look like in your URL. So you would have domain, we typed blog, and then /blog article. So then just hit the, oh yeah, and we want to go for the new version, of course, add collection. So we've added our first collection. Now we just want to start adding collection items. First, we're going to create some data fields. So to create the data fields, we want to click the curly brackets like Alex just did. And we want to add a first data field name. This could be anything, blog title, blog intro, blog image, blog date or publish date rather, and every time. So you can see that Alex is adding these fields. And every time you want to select the type of data that the field corresponds to, so blog title would be text, the intro would be text, blog image would be an image data, and publish date is date data. So there's 4 types of data that we can select. I think we also have number data.
Yeah, and in the future, of course, we will also add some more data fields to it. So, for example, a text editor field and that kind of data types will be added in a later phase. All right, Eva, let's add the first new item as a blog article to the collection blog articles.
Yes. So simply click the plus icon, add the first item. So this is a database item, collection item. So in this case, it would be a blog article. Once you give it its name, you can fill out the data fields again. So page title, page URL. Make sure to check the categories for all topics to make sure that the blog article will be visible. If not, if you don't check the category here, it simply won't appear on your page. Let's see, again, you have the advanced settings here, SEO, Open Graph. So this is definitely something you can fill out as well, but we won't be getting into it today. We want to set the canonical page to blog to make sure that the search engines don't see this as duplicate content. All right, and then we're at the data fields. So we've created a collection item, and now we want to add the content of the collection item. So we previously we created a data fields. Now we want to fill them out with the title, with intro text. There you go, an image, and the date that the blog will be published. And if we go back to the overview, we can see our first collection item with the content filled out.
Right. This was the first step, Eva, or the
Yes.
first part of setting up our collection.
So we have the collection, we have the data, so we have the content. Now we also want to have it displayed on our page. So we'll go back to the blog page that we created, and we'll be building the dynamic list to display the content that we put into the collection. We'll simply call it dynamic list, not to make things too complicated. Alex is just opening up the layers to make sure that we can see what we're doing. And here we'll be adding a structure called dynamic list. And inside, we're going to add a card. And this is the card where we want to visualize all the data from the database, or from the collection, rather. So inside the card structure, we're also going to add a button. What else? The intro text that we previously added, an image, the title. As you can see, Alex already added the vertical flex to make sure that the items are stacked on top of each other. We want to set the card to a width of 33%, so we want to make sure that there's a room for 3 cards next to each other. We're also going to clean up the design a bit, add some padding. This is something you can, of course, do the way you like to do it, depending on your design. So we've made our first item. This would be a blog article that we can click on. And the next step we're going to head to is populate the dynamic list. So we're selecting all categories here. On this page, you can also select how the blog articles or the overview or different tiles on the blog overview will be organized, whether or not you want a certain number of entries on your page, if you want to, let's see, publish date and time. So there's lots of settings here depending on how you want the overview to look like. And now we'll be populating the content, so making sure that we're retrieving the content or the data from the collection and visualize it automatically in this card. And for this, we just right-click Manage Content, and we'll be taken to this window. Content source is automatically set to CMS, but here we want to go for collection, the collection that we made earlier.
So here we are going to switch from like static content to really the dynamic collection.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see that the interface changes right away, and we can select the collection blog articles that we made earlier. And we want to select which data we want to retrieve. So this would be the blog title for the header that we created, or Alex created rather. And we'll be doing this for all items. So as you can see, the header 4 suddenly became how to build a no-code blog. This is a title that we entered in the database or the collection earlier. We'll be doing the same for the blog image, for the intro text, and not for the button. We'll be doing something else for the button. So for the button, we want to be smart and we want to link to the detail page. As you can see, you can also select this with the menu opening with the right mouse click. And you can select going to the collection blog articles and link to the detail page. So again, this is actually dynamic content. To make sure that we don't have to enter the text for the button every time over and over again, we can set the default text. Let's say for this button, read more. If we go to the edit, if we click the edit button or the pencil icon, and this is where you can set the text to make sure that every time we display a card, the button will look the same. We want to save and exit. There you go. So we have the first card or the first tile of a blog article, and all the content was filled out or populated automatically with the content that we previously put into the blog articles collection. I think the next step, Alex, is to build the detail page.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we are going to set up the detail page. So therefore I click on read more. And here you see like that we are going into one of the articles of the blog article collection. Eva, I will set up a detail page. Of course, I prepared already something. The first thing I will do is like just add some free flow content to the page. And then as a second step, I also will add to that detail page a dynamic blog hero section. And that means that every time you will add a new blog article to the collection. The dynamic hero section will be like, of course, published dynamically yeah. So first of all, I go here and I installed this. So this is the free flow part, but I prepared it already a bit with content that is relevant for today. And now we are going to add a new a dynamic hero section to the top of this page.
So this free flow content could be anything depending on what your collection is about. So this is a blog post, so we'll have a title, we'll have more text and images. This could also be a team member page. So this is very depending on what you're building. Next, Alex is building a hero banner. This is where we want to add dynamic content again. Actually, the same content that we displayed on the tile on the overview page earlier. We'll be repeating the same content again, but without having to fill it out manually. So again, we'll be auto-populating the content like we did on the tile on the overview page. So you can do the same thing twice, actually. So it's not just limited to the overview page. You can do it on the detail pages as well. But it's a combination of dynamic content and static content, whatever you think is best for your page or what suits your needs most. So we'll go through the same steps as earlier. So Alex is just building the blog right now, adding some, let's see, layers. So a content structure to group everything, a header, default text, some more default texts, an image. And like earlier, just hit the right mouse button and we can connect the content, selecting the collection's content source, selecting the type of collection that we want to retrieve the data from. And you can see again, the content is auto-populated with the content from the collection. So this is the identical process of how we filled out the content on the tiles on the overview page. So right now we only have one blog article, and we do have to set up everything. But if you have hundreds of blog articles, you can just copy a previous blog article, and all this will be set up uh, right away, saving you a lot of time actually. So you don't have to fill out the content again over and over for each article. It will be filled out automatically. Um, so it saves a lot of time, and it's also just really cool.
Yeah, you just need to make sure that you just save everything
Yeah.
in the fields, and then it's working like a shot.
Yeah. So as you can see, we again have the image, we again have the title, the intro text, and the publication of the published date of the blog in the hero banner on the detail page.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now we are going back to the collection, blog articles, and there is some great feature, Eva, that we are going to show right now.
Yes. You want to show something different than I wanted to explain. So well, we have lots of different features that are great. So yeah, you can make the blog as a template. You set it as a template. So like I explained earlier, if you have one blog, this is, you still have the setup, but you can use the first blog or whatever collection item that you added and use it as a template. So you can use the setup for each and every item that you add later on to yeah, use it and reuse it over and over again without having to set all the settings again.
Yeah, and here you really pick the page which you would like to refer as a template to. That means that here this switch means that you can give your end client the choice between, okay, am I going free flow, or are they only able to use the template? So it's very flexible, it's very dynamic, and I really like this feature. Right, go back to the collection here. And now I will add like a new article just to show you how it looks like when I populate the collection with more items, of course. So here I can now choose between the detail page or just going free flow if I want. So in this case, I will do it maybe how to build a portfolio code. This again. Yeah, this one we will make sure that when we release it will be set automatically to the slug we installed in the beginning when creating the collection, so that you don't need to do this twice. Of course, it makes sense. So now here, how to build a portfolio no code. Yeah, just because I didn't prepare like the demo text, I will just use the one we had before, just to make sure that it looks fine. Now you see that here now we have two articles. Yeah, and make sure that you notice the difference of the title. It's the only difference right now, but there is a difference. Okay, so if you go back to the blog overview, we see like that there are now two articles, one with the blog no code, one with the portfolio no code. And if you click like here on read more, you see that like the dynamic part of it is pre-filled and linked to the fields in the collection. And so if, for example, we change here, let's do this. How to build a portfolio no code like this. For example, just add some lorem ipsum into it. It's maybe more like this. you will see that like the text like replaces instantly. So this text is dynamically linked to the data fields that you are managing in your collection. And of course, this one is a dynamic hero section, but here you can just go free flow. So it's very easy for end clients, which are not designers, to just create content on the fly very easily. All right. Yeah, this is part 2 of the webinar, and now, like, we are going to finalize. And how do they call it, Eva? To place the cherry on the cake or something?
Cherry on top, yeah.
But I know that there is one feature left that a lot of our users like. With the previous version of our dynamic content module, which was more powered low code than no code. But even in the first release, we also make it possible to connect databases. Eva, can you explain why that is so interesting, to connect databases, to connect collections, sorry, each other?
Yes, so it's very interesting to connect one collection to another collection. For example, if you want to display the author of this blog article, we can make a collection or a database with a set of authors. So this is what we'll be doing, create a new collection. So this is all the same steps that we made earlier. So the name, the main category, all authors. We won't be making it a dynamic page because we don't want detailed pages for the authors. So we just want to connect them to the blog articles collection. There you go. We'll again introduce some fields, data fields. We'll have an avatar, so a picture of the blog author, and a name, of course. So this would be an image, data, and the name of the author, which is text data. And the reason that we're making this collection is that we want to connect this collection to the database or the collection of the blog articles to display the content dynamically again. So if you set your author to a certain article, it will appear underneath the blog as well. So we have a first collection item here, a first author, which is Alexander. We're adding a second one. So this is just exactly the same that we did earlier with a blog article. So these are, instead of blog articles, are authors that we're adding to the collection. Again, filling out the names with content.
Now we're going to do something very cool.
Now we're going to connect the databases. So simply select Manage Filters in the left navigation bar. Give a name to your database, and here you can select which database you want to connect to. We're connecting to the blog authors, or the blog articles, rather. I thought we were supposed to...
Yeah, we are in the collection blog articles, and we will create a filter
right, yeah. We're
that is
inside blog
connected to the collection blog authors, and we will choose for a single reference. So that means that only one author can write one article. It's possible also to connect to multiple references if you want to. Like this. And if we then go back to the articles, we are able to here decide who has written the articles. So in this case, I wrote it. And in the second article for the portfolio, let's say that Leslie wrote the article. And so that's very nice. That's very nice feature. Let's show you how nice it is. First of all, let's try to edit this component and make sure that below the date, for example, or maybe remove the date and then add content structure to it, and I make sure that I'm visualizing the date, the picture of the author, and the name of the author. First of all, to be able to re-edit again this component, because this one is now used as a collection, we need to, sorry, as a template, we need to unlock the template again. Otherwise, I cannot edit it like this. So this is like a feature that prevents your end clients to edit something on the template. So that's very nice. You never know what end clients will do. Let's go back to the blog. Right. How to build a blog now code here.
So when we're inside the blog articles collection or database, we're actually retrieving information or data from the author collection when we're applying the filter. So now we're just going to go ahead and build the structure to visualize this information or data, same as we did earlier. So Alex is going to build a content structure and place an image and a text item next to each other. So we can show a little picture and the name, or the avatar and the name of the author.
And also the publish date, maybe, to have it all in there. Like this. And now again, what we will do, Eva, is just to make sure that we read the right information. And this is very cool because now I go inside the collection blog articles, but there now I have like a new
connected,
connected list of fields. So I connect to the item, and there I can read like all the fields that are stored in that collection. So in this case, like I think we are doing the image right now. Okay, so let's see the avatar of the collection block authors. Like this, we have Leslie, and here we go to text. We go to the collection block articles again. The name, right? Like this. Here we go to the text collection articles.
Set the publish date.
All right. Maybe this one.
Yes, Julie, you can definitely add the components to your library so you can just reuse it over and over again. Is that your question?
Like this. Now we added the connected data fields to this dynamic hero section. If you go back and you go to the portfolio, which I have written, you see here how it changes accordingly.
And the information or the data is displayed both on the detailed page as on the overview page.
Yeah, of course, it's possible.
If you add the design, of course.
Yeah, if you add it, so of course you can, now redesign this title. Sorry, this card, Eva. Also add like content structure to it, and then do just exactly the same as we did with the dynamic hero section on the detail page.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think we are almost there, Eva. It went pretty well.
Too easy.
It was too easy, but I'm sure like building this entire engine was not that easy. It took a lot of months for our programmers to come up with this first release. Step by step, we will increase the power of this engine. But I think this will add so much value to all of you, for everyone that wants to code or design to create independently from front-end coders. Of course, at this moment, the low-code solution is still a bit more powerful than the no-code solution. We will like quickly add features like filtering and that kind of stuff to the render list, but we will never keep on. We will never stop continuing this development process. But I think it's already very nice to use it. Think about you want to create an about you page, and you just want to visualize in an easy way all the team members of your team, and then beautifully organize it in the different categories. Maybe that's something we need to show, Eva. Now I'm explaining it. How can you add like categories, subcategories? That's definitely something that's very interesting. And also let our audience see the relation then between creating a category and then like adding the filter options in the render list settings. Maybe that's a good thing to finalize the webinar with. So what I'm going to do now is going back to the dynamic content. I go to the collection block articles, and here you see like manage categories. So here it's perfectly fine if you want to add a subcategory to, for example, go to what you would like to write about it. So let's say that we would like to write about web design. You can add it. Let's say that we want to write about no code, low code, for example. You can add it. Or before customer stories like this. You can go even level deeper if it's needed. But the great thing is when you then go to the blog articles and you go to the setting of the article here, that you see that the categories are added accordingly. Of course, you can also use this button to add new categories to it. And what's the relation with the list then? And that's very interesting to see, is when you go here and you click on this pencil, you see here the dynamic list settings. And here you see the category. And of course, I now selected all topics, but of course you can also create a list of a sub-selection. So for example, if you only want to show in a collection team members, the team members that are developers, or the team members that are sales, or the team members that are web service, that are part of the web service team, here you can create like a sub list. And that's the most interesting case of using dynamic content for your website, for that type of content, where you add frequently new items to it, and that you would like to change very dynamically. All right. Are the categories or contents usable across pages, or do I need to create the content for each site? Sorry. Wait, are the categories or contents usable across pages, or do I need to create the content for each site? Dieter, I think that you're also following this webinar. I think here the question is, can I save maybe in a second phase the collection to a library and then reuse it? Is that your question, Ivor? Because of course, like the list as such is like very dynamic. So you can add the dynamic list here. Once you created it, it's available in the project components. And here you can really add it to every page that you want. So you don't need to build your dynamic list over and over and over again. And you, of course, can save these items to your private library, so you can reuse it for other websites. Yeah, absolutely. Is that an answer on your question, Ivor?
Yes, it is.
All right, great. Yes, Eva, I think you're at the end of the webinar.
Yeah,
Thank you for being for giving comments and for a good moderator.
of course.
um, yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing our next webinar together. This will probably be in maybe 4 or 6 weeks, more rather 6 weeks than 4 weeks, and we will have our webinar maybe. Yeah, in the same topic as we launched today, but we will explain the audience how you can create dynamic content, but with content that is stored on external locations. So it will be possible to create render lists, dynamic lists and dynamic pages, but with content that is not stored inside SiteManager. So we will launch normally within a couple of weeks our first connection to Notion. So in that way, we would be able to, for example, retrieve the content that is in this Notion page and visualize it on the website. So that will be a great feature as well, because of course, websites are more and more becoming a crossroad of content that is stored somewhere else, whether it's in a Notion or in an Airtable or in a Google Sheet. It will be working a bit similar like we explained today, but the only difference is that the content is not stored inside SiteManager. And the next step, but that will be like after the summer holiday, we will step by step engineering how to build, how to enable API calls on dynamic content. But that's for a later phase. That's not for today. All right. I want to thank everyone for attending this webinar, and for everyone that will watch the recording afterwards. If there are questions, please shoot us a mail, send us something on the social media. If you just have a question, okay, how can I use it? Normally, we will release it, I think, within a week, maybe 2 weeks, and there are a couple of things that we need to finalize. But if you want to have earlier access, you can ask support. So just shoot a mail to support@sitemanager.io, and we can just enable the switch that you have early access if you want. And otherwise, it will be released for everyone in max 2 weeks.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
You,
Bye.
bye.